Graham, good to see you again. Look, the day after the night before, so to speak, just how is the mood in the camp after such a spirited performance last night?
It's weird, really, because they're obviously disappointed that we didn't go through, with the performance and obviously our ambitions. But there's an understanding of how we played, how we represented ourselves, and a reality about what we're here to try and achieve. We're in the big scheme of things, and that's to help Bradford get out of this division. So that's still there for us. So there's still an ambition, there's still a target for us to aim at. But I think it's sometimes maybe a bit of a slow burner. I think we've had a brief sleep last night, and then we're back in today. So I think maybe tomorrow with the day off, they'll think about it again. Maybe as it gets to the final, that it'll resurface again. But we just have to focus on the game on Saturday. That's the most important thing right now. And so I think the players, if you went up there, you wouldn't realise that we'd been beaten a semi-final last night, and I say that in the best way because I don't. We talk a lot about keeping a balance, so I don't want to walk into a really quiet canteen and change room. It wasn't quiet after the game last night. We made sure that wasn't going to be the case, so they brought it forward to today, and I think they're focused for Saturday. I think that's the biggest thing, and it's good to see.
I know you're wanting to breed a winning culture naturally, but is that the value of last night? If you're not going to get to the final, you've at least gone out fighting and showing the club in its very best light. Yeah,
I think I've spoke a lot about perfection doesn't exist. So we're not sitting here kidding ourselves. We're going to win every game from now to the end of the season. But there's a way of holding yourself and performing. And the performance never guarantees a win, but it gives you the most chance of winning, and that's what we gave ourselves last night. I felt certainly in the second half when I felt we found our composure and our real belief. Looking back at it briefly this morning, I felt there was things we could have done better in the first half in possession, and at half time I think maybe the goal for them liberated us a little bit. As in, right, let's just go for it, and that's us at our best. So that's maybe a lesson for us all to learn as a squad. But we don't want to be the unlucky loser, or the pat on the back, see you later. We don't want that tag. We want to be serious competitors. We want to be on the right end of results. But like I said, I think we understand that things can go against us. But I felt we held ourselves in great esteem, in great respect for our game. I think everyone that isn't to do with Bradford would have looked at our game and actually give us respect as well. So fair play.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Is there an importance in showcasing what you can do to the rest of the footballing world? There'll have been eyes on that game last night, and the first caller that we had on our phone in last night was a Birmingham City fan saying how well Bradford City and Bobby Poynton have played.
Yeah. Well, look, it's consolation. We'd rather win and everyone hate us and slag us off, to be honest. No, look, I think that's how you have to go through life. Understanding there's how you behave, how you act, how you compete, and there's a consistency in that. It doesn't guarantee, so win, lose, draw, you still be true to yourself, you still go all the way to the end, and that's what this team has consistently done. It's never give up. It's always been fighting, and sometimes we win. A lot of the time we win this season, but sometimes we take a punch on the nose, but we get back up and we're ready to compete again. That's the most I could ask my team to do, as a base minimum, and I think they held themselves well. I thought our supporters held themselves well. It was a proper cup tie. Yeah. It was a proper competitive game. It wasn't one-way traffic, and that was the feedback we got from a couple of their staff to our staff. That not many teams go toe-to-toe with them at St Andrews, and we did, certainly in the second half, and so the players deserve credit for that, but we still understand there's work for us to do and there's still improvement for us to make.
Is there value in now the league is just what's in front of you. You know, the task at hand, the games that you have remaining, and the position that you find yourselves in. And I suppose a degree of clarity on that standpoint, that those cup-tied players are no longer cup-tied, that squad is there. This is you now until the end of the season.
Yeah, look, that's the biggest bonus, you know, that we know that we've got, you know, the whole squad back involved again. You know, it'd have been great to have them available last night, to give us that strength in depth and ability to change. But we still had a good team and a good squad out there anyway. So, but yeah, I think they would have been. Well, no, they are. I think they were a bit frustrated that they couldn't be involved in it as well, because they want to. You know, they've took part in everything since they've came. They want to help us win. That's what they're here for. And you know, to not have that opportunity in the EFL Trophy has been disappointing for them as well. But yeah, they're all in the mix now for the coming games. It's league only from now to the end of the season, but the challenge is still as tough as it has been. But I think we can take solace and confidence from our run, not just last night's performance, but our whole run in that competition and who we've beat along the way, to understand that I think we're a good team.
Yeah. Just a quick word briefly to finalise from me on last night. Bobby's performance and obviously his goal, and a great moment for him, you know, boyhood City fan in front of the travelling supporters as well. No doubt a moment that he'll remember in his career. But you've spoken about his maturity and how much he's grown in this season, and again, just I suppose rising to that stage and that occasion as an academy player, as we mentioned last week, someone who's somewhat slipped through the net and really taken on the mantle of becoming a regular first team player in this team now.
Yeah, he slipped through everyone else's net, not ours. So you know, we're happy to have him. And I didn't think he was at his best first half, I'll be honest. I said that to him at half time. I think you're a better player than what you're showing. I think but that would have probably been his first exposure to that type of game at that level, away from home. He's obviously probably used to and confident playing in front of big crowds at Valley Parade, but part of his education and his learning is then going to hostile venues away, and it doesn't always have to be 26, 28,000. You know, it can be hostile when it's 2,000. But there is a different emphasis on the game. You are one game from Wembley, so all those things, you know, every player, if you get the opportunity to play in those games, has to learn from those experiences. And I thought he did that. I thought he progressed through the game. I thought he did settle down at half time. I think he obviously scored the goal and then grew into the performance, thinking, no, I can compete and play at this level. Because it will go through all individual players when you play a squad and a team as good as that on that type of occasion in a semi-final. And I think they all have little doubts. I would have, you know, in all the games I played, it's always there. But then it's about controlling your emotions and actually backing yourself and actually understanding. No, well, I play against good players every single day, you know. So this is just another game, and I think he will take that performance, and I think others will, forward into their career and become better players for it. So great for him to get the goal, because he puts a lot of work into his game, you know, in and out of possession, but he's a player that has to have an end product, and he does that for us.
If you're to compare now to the start of the season, or maybe the end of last season, does Bobby find himself in that position last night at the start of this season, or is that a part of his game that's grown?
I think it takes time to do that, but yeah, I don't know. Possibly not, because he didn't start the season, so that would have been difficult to do from the bench. But I think his goals that he scored last season were sort of outside the box, around the edge of the box, shots that he's got. And we've done a lot of work with not just him, but all the players about really committing to those runs, those areas, because we do get into those areas a lot, and we deliver good balls into those areas a lot. As it was last night, it was an unbelievable ball from Sars. But unless you're willing to commit to that last line and get across defenders or get right close to the goal, there's a skill and an intent in that. You know, these goal scorers over the years that go, oh, it's just in the right place at the right time. But there's a skill and a learning. I don't think it's something that's come natural to Bobby, but he's learned it and he commits to it. And that's the one thing I'd say about Bobby all the time, is when you put a challenge down and you say, look, we need to do this, need to do that, he thinks so deeply about the game, and he trusts us, and he goes and commits to it. And that's why I believe, well, it's why I pick him. I can tell you that first and foremost. But it's why he gets any success he has along the way, scoring goals, having good performances, because he understands the game. He's really intelligent and he commits to it, and he gets his rewards from that. And I think the players in general are doing that. But yeah, there's still things he can prove. Like I said to him at half time last night. But I thought the second half, it was an excellent performance from him.
Yeah. I mentioned the start of the season. Obviously, it was MK Dons away that started your campaign, and today who you face next. Similar question, really, but more generally, what growth have you seen from your team in that space of time? Obviously, different system and such, but what's improved, do you think, about the team, and what is still to improve? You mentioned that there's still improvements you want to make.
Yeah, I think it was a big game. It was 2 pre-season favourites for competing for promotion, so it was a tough start for us, as in the fixture. We got off to a blistering start, and then I don't think we managed our performance after that particularly well, and it was a learning stage for us to actually say, look, we can't try to manage a game for 85 minutes, or 80 minutes, if you're 2-0 up, we still have to play our way until there's a certain stage where you have to manage the result. But so we took that forward. I thought we did take that forward into the games after that, but obviously then we suffered all the injuries, and it was a bit of a mix and match couple of months. But once we got all the players back, we could get back to what we were trying to sort of create at the start of the season, but obviously in a different formation. I learned a lot about Pato's best attributes, because even though he's been here my whole time, I've had limited exposure to him until this season. So I thought he was ideal for that attacking 8, but it wasn't fitting, and we changed the shape really to suit the players we had that we felt could help us be successful. So that's when we mixed the team up, changed the team, and or the formation, sorry, and the players have almost fitted into it really well. Yeah. And so I've learnt more probably than the players, about what my players are capable of, and certainly players that obviously we brought in 6 or 7 in the summer, and then getting Pato back was like an extra player because we didn't have him last season. So it was me learning about them more than them learning about the team. Yeah,
and on that point of where you'd still like to improve with this team moving forward, what are those areas, if you can go into that?
Yeah, look, I don't want to expose any weaknesses I feel we have, because I think it's that's for us to know and to work on. So we create a team that hasn't got weaknesses, but there's always going to be things you're better at than not. But I still think there's improvement to make as individuals, obviously, or we would be at the top end of the Premier League if there wasn't room for improvement. That's not the case. So we always have to look to how we improve. But we always try to, we always do, focus on the players and the team's strengths and try to play for that, play to them. But ultimately, as a coach, I have a responsibility to try and help them all improve as individuals and the team get better and better and better, because we're not perfect. And I know perfection isn't achievable, but improvement is. So we always look to progress if we can. So I think all across the board, I don't think there's anything we're perfect at. I think we've got a really good defensive record this season, but I thought we could improve that from last night. I think there was a couple of bits we could get better at. But in general, we just try to keep that sort of momentum of trying to improve and progress all the time if we can.
Numbers wise, obviously, as we mentioned, those cup tie players are now back available for you. Elsewhere within the squad, how are you shaping up, and specifically, how close is Lewis and Kieran?
Lewis is closer than Kieran. Lewis sort of part trained today with us, so we're probably going along the same protocols we did last time, where it's probably a bit short because last time it was a bit unknown, but I think now because we know his condition, and so it's been a quicker progress back to the grass. So we just have to take it day by day, and every time up his load, up his exposure to contact, and then when he's fully in there, then he can come back into it. But he trained well today. Fitness wise is not a problem. His general fitness, he's played a lot of games, he's been able to be out running straight away virtually. It's just the sort of contact between players, and of how we train. There's quite a bit of that sometimes.
Yeah. And in Callum's situation, are you hopeful that he'd be available for Saturday?
We'll see on Friday. I think he's been out on the grass today, but not with us. So we'll see how he responds to what he got exposed to today, tomorrow and Friday, and assess that, and then see if he's available or not. But I don't think it's anything. Well, I know it's not anything major, so it could be a really quick return. Yeah,
and for those that played last night, it came through okay.
Yeah, they were all good. Knackered, as you'd expect, but that's how we have to be at the end of every game. I don't go for this. I felt good in this game all the way through. That means you've got something left in the tank, and we don't want to do that. So you should come off the pitch tired and beat up, and then recover really well. And the players have done that, and consistently over the last month or so, because it's been challenge after challenge after challenge, and they've come back ready for more than in 3 days' time, and that's what we're going to have to keep doing. It's the only way for us to compete at the level we want to compete at.
And finally from me, it's the reorganised Clubs Community Foundation Day this Saturday for the visit of MK Dons. I think it was postponed because of the Accrington game pre-Christmas. I know we spoke at the time about the importance of engaging with the community, and obviously we've seen the Dallas stand opened now, and some younger fans in the lower tier of the Bradford end. It does have such an importance, doesn't it, for this football club, and we've spoken in this press conference about the connection with the fan base and how that's growing.
Yeah, I think it has to go beyond just the games. I think that's the biggest thing that football fans come to football for, is for the matches and the games. But the way the world is now, I think we're much more aligned to the whole experience of any event, certainly sporting matches in general. And there's an all-round sort of package of looking after supporters. Certainly if I think about it, and some of you old boys going back to the games in the days when we were teenagers, it was the match and the match only, basically, and the rest of it was pretty horrid. But I think football clubs have done a lot of work in not just connecting with the supporters on match day, but also during the week and everything. It's really important, I think, because football clubs do have a major important part to play in people's lives, and rightly so. It's a great sport, and we should expand how we interact with our supporters. And the club try to make great strides. We're not perfect, but we try to do our best, and we're always open to feedback.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay, mate.
You talk a lot about not wanting to be too high after a win, too low after a defeat. That's especially true now, going from a semi-final back into the league thing, that you've got to basically go into it with the same mentality.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it's important. That's why I like coming in on a Wednesday after a Tuesday game, because it gets anything out straight away. It doesn't linger there. You're back with the boys. We're talking about the game, talking about the build up to it, anything it is, but you get it out of the system as quick as possible. So that's why we have our training schedule out how it is, so we can address any issues or problems straight away, no lingering. And then when we have the recovery day tomorrow, everything's ready to prepare for the next game, and we're consistent in that. The players have become consistent in that, but when a little quiet moment in the change room last night, after 10 minutes, I'm looking across the change room, and the lads are chatting about the game. There's a few smiles on their faces, because I think they understood that they competed at a really good level last night against a top team, probably the best team we can compete against in that tournament, without a shadow of a doubt. So, but I know that it's going to keep coming, these little tinges of disappointment and missing an opportunity of competing for a trophy. But I said to the players straight after the game, in fact I said it before the game last night, this won't be our biggest game this season, and I still believe that. I think there's big games to come, and none bigger than Saturday's performance. We have to go and show that our focus and our discipline is on point.
And when those games come, they've now got the confidence and belief in having gone toe-to-toe with the team that are running the way with League One.
Yeah, I agree. But for me, it's not a one-off experience for this group of players. I think we've done it consistently. We played Walsall a few weeks ago, and won 9 on the bounce, and we go and win 3-0. It's not just a once in a blue moon experience for this group of players. I don't believe. I think since 11 months ago, when we sort of the birth of what we believe this team could be, we've been really consistent in how we've performed and the results we've picked up. It's not been perfect, but the good has far outweighed the bad. So I don't believe we've just had a recent run of form. I think it's been consistent performances for 10, 11 months, and but there's still 2-3 months to go. So we have to get our head down and work as hard as we always do.
Okay.
Okay, mate.
Talk, Graham, about obviously the teams jostling in that race at the moment. You know how tight it is. There's literally a couple of points separating so many. Are you surprised that MK Dons currently aren't in that picture, given in mind, as you say, one of the pre-season favourites and probably the way they were going for most of the first half of the season?
Yeah, because at the start of the season, I think we all have preconceived ideas of who could compete at the top, but I know how football works. There's a lot of things you have to do right to make that happen. So look, I don't pay any attention to MK, even though I was there for a little bit. Week to week, I'll only focus on them now because we played our last game before we played them. So I can't tell you why they're not up at the top end, to be honest. And it's not my focus. My focus is Bradford City. So we will just go into the game on Saturday. We will watch their recent performances. We will understand how they play. But as always, we have to do what we do. But the football's full of it. Who would think Man United would be 15th in the Premier League? That's how the game works.
As you say, and this league, we've said before, there's not that much difference in a lot of the teams from the top of the table to the bottom of the table. There's quite a sort of quite an even level with a lot of the sides.
Yeah.
Obviously, Scott Lindsay, well, he's got some very good players there. Dan Crowley, who played very well for Notts County just before Christmas. So, it's, as you say, it's always the challenge of that next game of knowing that whatever the form book might suggest.
Yeah, no,
it's a test,
but that's you've heard me speak about the teams that we've played at the bottom end of the table, and look how tight those games have been, and you've seen how we've approached it. We haven't approached it in any way, shape, or form in a negative way or a way where we're relaxed about it. I think we go into all the games. We have this balance about how we compete. Because I don't go overboard, like I say, I don't overestimate or I don't underestimate opponents. I take them black and white. This is what they do. This is what they don't do. This is what we're going to do. That's it, really. It's quite simplistic, but I think it helps the players stay focused on what we need to do first and foremost. Because if we don't do that, then we're going to be second best anyway. So we have to do what we do. But all teams at this level, I think, obviously MK have invested a lot of money in their squad in the summer and January as well. But there's lots of good players throughout the league in all the divisions. My belief is that there is no such thing as a bad professional footballer. They're professional footballers, so they're all good at all the levels, different levels of that, obviously. But everyone has a motivation, everyone's organised, everyone has analysis, fitness programmes, all that sort of thing. So the margins between teams are quite small. That's why you have to do a lot of things right to make sure they go your way.
Obviously, you've got this fantastic home record at the moment. It's 12 wins in 16 games. It must be great going into having that confidence. And I think supporters now are going to home games with a confidence that the team will perform in front of them. Because obviously, as you said, it was one of those issues that needed addressing when you came in. You sort of feel that. You can sort of feel that belief around the place now. Yeah,
I think the two things are the support base are, I think, excited when they come to Valley Parade and hopeful. There's always been an expectancy there. We understand that, and there should be as well. But they're I think there's a patience there with the players and the team at the moment where, if it's not going our way for 20 minutes or to half time, they're still with us. They still understand the challenges. I think we've earned that bit of patience. The players have earned that. And for the players, I think they enjoy playing at Valley Parade. I don't know how much they enjoyed it when we first came in. It felt like a potential burden more than an enjoyment, but we just reframed their minds about this. Well, part of the reason you came here was to play in front of this great crowd and this venue, so let's go and enjoy it. But I think there's a confidence there from our performances. There's not an overconfidence there that it's just we turn up and we win. That's definitely not the case. We will hurt ourselves massively if we ever let that seep into our psyche. So, but like I keep saying, I think we've got experienced players in there. I hear Richie talking, I hear Sam Walker talking, Brad Halliday, Andy Sarsvik. These boys, they're saying the right things before the games. Before in the change room. I don't have to step forward to do that before games. I've got leaders in there that know how to understand what the challenge is coming ahead. and make sure the players are on board with what we're doing. So we'll go into the game confident from our performances, but we've also gone into Valley Parade not confident and still win, and that's the key for us. Is whatever our mood is, we have to put it in the bin and go and perform, and I think that's what the players have done exceptionally well.
And you say about, you can sort of feel that sort of confidence within the support base. You notice that at the final whistle, when if you get the result, that the players sort of do a bit of a lap, sort of appreciation of the supporters, and you can sort of just sense that, the backing, because they've got that belief in you.
I think there's a feel to football, and sometimes a lot of stuff is factual, the data and results, that's factual, you can't argue with that, but there's always a feeling around football, and change rooms, stadiums, fan bases, squads, and that's I think is the best indicator of potential of any club, is the feel around the place. Is it a feel of ambition? Is it a feel of drive, of a winning mentality, or is it a feel of, I don't know, feeling sorry for ourselves, victimisation, or woe is me, or just all that sort of stuff, and I think you can make decisions along the way as a human being to actually impact on that, all players, all supporters, all staff members, to chip away at making us feel positive about ourselves, and I think that everyone has took part in that, everyone, over the course of 10 or 11 months to hopefully create this, but it can be brittle, and you have to work hard to maintain it, and that's what we're trying to do as much as we can.
I suppose it was another night, Graham, getting that emotionally, sort of psychologically. You're going to have some big games at the end of the season, and that's another, another example, and you can take that into some of the bigger games, can't you? Well, they're all big, aren't they? I suppose,
that's it. They're all big. They are. The biggest game for us is Saturday. I said it after we beat Walsall. The biggest game for us was Tuesday against, I think it was Morecambe at the time. If I'm wrong. Yeah. But it was, because we don't want to be these one-off games where we reach a level and then it seeps back. We have to maintain it. We have to drive each other, and I think the players have understood that it's. That we have to keep pushing forward and grinding, because as soon as you step back for a deep breath and relax, that's when you take a couple of hits and then you have to try and get the momentum back. So we have to keep our foot to the floor. I think it is a big game on Saturday, and they are still a good team. I think the league table can belie people's quality at times, and I see that week in, week out. I thought that against Accrington the other week, to be honest, as well. So we shouldn't be under any illusions that there's a good team coming to Valley Parade on Saturday. But the biggest thing, and I'm sorry for keep repeating it, is we have to make sure the opponent understands that there's a good team they're playing against as well. And that's the biggest thing for us. Yeah,
you spoke about the 10, 11 months, and it's sort of almost building a bank of trust with the supporters, isn't it? Like you said, they sort of came in before, they've been hurt a lot of times over the years, and that's, this spell you've had is arguably one of the biggest things you've done, isn't it? You've got them back, and
that we've done as a squad, as a club. Trust is the word I use a lot. I think the players have to trust each other, the staff have to trust them, they have to trust us, and obviously the supporters are always a massive part to play in that, and I believe that's probably the best way of putting it. There's a trust there. I think there's a trust from the supporters, knowing that these players are ready to go right to the level to win a game of football for Bradford City. That's and that's where that feeling is. Trust is a feeling, isn't it? And I think we talk about that a lot in our change rooms, in meetings, because it's part of our tactical sort of ideas that you have to trust your teammate. And when we do that, I think we're a really, really good team. And I think when we do that between the support base and the fans and the team, then we're a really, really good club.
Yeah, obviously Jamie Walker, he got a start yesterday. He's still got a big role to play for you this season, and you look at some of the clubs he's played for as well as Bradford. He's
no, 100%. Honestly, look, there was speculation about a couple of players, or there was interest in a couple of players, and I left it to the players. Honestly, because I only want people here that really want to be here. I don't want to keep anyone here that doesn't want to compete and play at the best level for this club. And I spoke to Jamie, and Jamie he just wanted to be a part of something successful, and And I thought he was excellent last night. You know, the role I believe that he has the attributes to play up front for our team, and I don't generalise or pigeonhole players. I look for the qualities that they have and what qualities we need in a team. And I looked at what do we need? We need a goal threat as a 9, and we need someone who can link the play. Well, that's Jamie Walker. So why not play him? And but physically, for me, was the biggest bonus for me because he hasn't played a lot of games recently. But his data this morning was fantastic. So every credit to him.
He's one of those intelligent players. You can tell him something. You don't have to keep telling him 3 or 4 times.
No, that's right. And he's got that thing inside him. He's got that thing that we can't coach. That he knows how to create a chance or work towards a goal. I think he's got that as a natural sort of instinct. But all players, and maybe my thing with Jamie is fitting into how the team plays. But then once we're in the final third, then you go and do what you need to do. And Jamie did that last night. So he was excellent last night. I was really pleased for him because he played his part in a really good performance from the team.